Welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about the power of habits and how habits rule your entire life. Now, about 6 months ago, I read this book called The Atomic Habits. I'm sure a lot of you guys have read this book. If you haven't, go check it out. It's an awesome book. And something that I was actually thinking about this morning is, we have all these habits, right? And usually when we think of bad habits, we think of people that, indulge in alcohol or drugs or porn or something really bad. But what I've realized is that we also have a lot of micro bad habits. And what I mean by micro bad habits is that they're little subtle things, tiny little subtle things that we do on a daily basis that rob us of success and happiness. For example, I'm just going to use this as an example. Maybe when it comes to communication, maybe there's a word that you don't pronounce it the right way. And you have a habit of pronouncing a word the wrong way. Or maybe you have a habit of leaving stuff behind you and forgetting to bring stuff to work or forgetting to bring stuff wherever you're at. These are not necessarily like, people would call bad habits, right? Such as binging on alcohol or drugs, but they are negative habits. And what I've realized is that I have a lot of these negative habits that I engage in throughout the day. They're small little things, but those small little things build up. For example, I used to go to Starbucks every single day when I'd first wake up in the morning. And, it's not necessarily terrible for me to have a coffee every morning, but if you consider the sugar and just the amount of money I was spending, like $8 a day going to Starbucks, it was just kind of like, that adds up. And you'll notice too, like, to really catch yourself in these habits, look at your bank account. If you notice that you're spending $3 here, $5 here, $3 here, $5 here, there's a good chance that you have a lot of micro bad habits. And not only are they in your financial life, but they're also in your social life. They're in your, your intimate relationship. They're in your business. It's these little tiny things that add up. It's kind of like investing. If you put aside 10% of your earnings, or let's just say you put aside every month, you put aside $500. You do that once a month, in 10 years, you're going to create a pretty good amount of money if you continue to invest. So it's these little things that may not affect you on the day-to-day basis, but in the long term, these little tiny micro habits are affecting your day. So what I suggest is that you develop this self-awareness to become aware of these little things. You can even make a list of things that you can think of off the top of your head. And if you can't think of anything, just be aware. You'll notice that for example, I used to have a habit of leaving stuff behind. I would forget to bring stuff with me. I was very forgetful. And that I had this habit for a long time. And I call it a habit is because it was just a programmed way that I was going about doing my actions, right? It was a programmed way that I was going about engaging in life's activities. So I had to cut that habit. And one of the most powerful things in the power of the Atomic Habits is that he talks about you can't necessarily cut a habit out altogether, but you can replace a habit. When I used to go to Starbucks every day, I didn't just cut Starbucks out completely. No, what I did is I drank, instead of waking up and going to Starbucks in the morning, I would drink a full glass of water. And I do that every morning. So I replaced the not so good habit with an even better habit. So identify the habits that you're engaging in that are not necessarily good for you, and then figure out ways to replace them with more positive things. But awareness is key, and it all goes back to meditation and self-awareness. Whenever you meditate on a daily basis, you cultivate this self-awareness. The more self-awareness you have, the more ability you have to change yourself. Because if you're not self-aware, you're going to be engaging in actions on a daily basis that you're not even aware of that are actually robbing you of success. So awareness is power. Cultivate that awareness, replace those habits, and I'll see you tomorrow.